Welcome to Fresh Tech Tips. I am Darrell Norris, CEO of Fresh Tech Solutions. And today I have some of my awesome business partners with me today.
Good morning, Darrell. This is Nicholas Mbaser Daniel, founder of Aegis Project Management.
And I am Dr. Doug Franklin, CEO and co-founder of Deck Launch LLC. How are you guys doing today?
Feeling pretty good, Doc. It's a great Monday. How you doing, Nick?
I'm all right, man. How you doing, Doc?
Doing pretty well over here. Doing pretty well.
Awesome, awesome. So today's Fresh Tech Tip topic is Ed Tech. Nicholas, give us one of those world famous definitions. What are we talking about concerning education technology?
Yeah, man. Education technology, or ed tech, as it's widely referred to, is refers to an area of technology devoted to development and application of tools intended to promote education. So basically, technology for the purpose of education. In this times where everybody, I know my kids are on Zoom now. Every kid right now, or every instructor right now, is utilizing education at a different level that they have in the past. In the past, technology and education was like on the peripheral, or it was scoffed at if you were going to school online. It was like, like that education was inferior to being in front of the classroom with face-to-face teaching or more traditional styles of teaching. But now that is the predominant method, and so the market has been shifting drastically to utilize technology in education. So that's pretty much what ed tech refers to.
Yeah, so one of the things that we've told you guys, especially with the nature of COVID being floating around, that a lot of these technological changes that we're doing are here to stay. And you're to see a lot of that with ed tech. But even beyond ed tech in the formal classroom, ed tech has really started to jump off. Because I mean, if you're talking about the Coursera's of the world, so many of the online universities that are skill based and not necessarily formal education based, those two are education technology that is making education substantially more accessible than before. And just something that you could appreciate with regards to Deck Launch, probably over the last 18 months. I would dare say that somewhere around a quarter of our queries were all some ed tech based type product, where you're talking about someone just trying to share one of their knowledge, skills, or abilities, or someone actually just working on some really exciting education innovation that they could use for either K-12 or higher education.
Yeah, see, two things I want to say about that is I like what you said there about knowledge. So more than just being in the education space, actually spreading knowledge through technology. That's something that's become vital, because we know, especially for POCs in those spaces, our knowledge has not been transferred down through traditional means. So we're starting to turn to technology to spread out, information that has been, kind of lost over time or buried, about, African people or African Americans or other cultures that you don't get anywhere else. We're starting to use education, and technology, ed tech, as a form to do that. So that's something. And also, I'll say that pretty quickly, we're starting to see the second version and third versions or iterations of education technology. Like, for example, Zoom is already in creation of a platform that's specifically for the classroom. So you see, just like maybe 6 months ago, kids didn't know what Zoom was. Now, fast forward 6 months later, they're already developing a new platform. That's how quickly these things go. So that's how you know that it's here to stay.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely here to stay, and it's only going to improve over time. But I am super excited that we don't bring guests on Fresh Tech Tips too often. So when we do, just know we have something special for you guys. And today we have somebody who is going to be joining us who can speak all about education technology.
That's
He
fact.
is an entrepreneur. He is an instructional designer and faculty member at the University of St. Thomas, and he also attended the great Prairie View A&M University. So y'all know he's
Easy.
A1 in my book. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Brandon into the call, Dr. Brandon Green. Is he coming? Is he? There he goes.
There you go.
There he goes. Oh, masked up Dr. Brandon Green. How are you?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm pretty good. Nice. Thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for joining us. It's been a while since I've seen you, man.
How you been? How you been?
Pretty good. Pretty good. So, Doc, let's get right to it, man.
Well, so first, I'd love to welcome my colleague and also a classmate and good friend to the show. So, thank you for joining us, Dr. Green. And so my first question for you is, as someone who has taught in the classroom and now virtually, what's the hardest part of teaching online?
The hardest part teaching online, I would say, is the student engagement piece. In the classroom setting, you have the student engagement piece is very, very crucial. You have that human to human interaction. And also in the virtual setting, the language is you have to chunk your lectures, meaning you have to break your lectures up into 10 to 15 minutes to spoon feed your students. And also the student support piece is missing. And so, particularly with faculty, the traditional faculty, they're used to this in-person environment. But whenever you're coming online, the faculty, they're struggling with technology. They're struggling with making sure their machine is up to date. And so with all this is going on, they forget the main piece is to build that camaraderie together and build that student engagement.
And speaking of all those technological advancements, what do you see as being really permanent for education moving forward?
Oh wow, COVID-19 is actually a hidden jewel, I would say, as far as with online learning. So now with COVID-19, with integrating the technology, we now have established this digital stage. With this digital stage, we have several advantages. Now we can connect with a global appearance. Universities also can network and market and connect with students that's outside of the area. For example, University of St. Thomas is here in Houston, Texas. Now, a student that's in Washington, D.C. that heard about St. Thomas now can join in with our flex classroom technologies that we have. And also, as far as with students that's unable to join the class session for that day for whatever personal reasons, they still can participate and engage in lectures with the huge advantage of technologies that's been forced to use by faculty and students.
No, that's a good point. And even more along that line, what would you say are some of the innovative things that you recommended for use during your career at your university or you've witnessed around in that space?
So, of course, Zoom or some type of digital platform. I think even once we return to the actual classroom, I highly recommend that faculty still utilize Zoom or Google Meets, because now, faculty can create podcasts with their classrooms. They can record their lectures,
Content.
actual students, and also the advantage with these high flex rooms. I can see within the next couple of years that the whiteboards in these classrooms are going to be obsolete. And so by faculty using these high flex classrooms, particularly with these large iPads that some faculty say, by you actually using that whiteboard feature, you can click save and you can upload those actual notes onto your Zoom or to your Blackboard or email the students. But in a traditional class setting with these whiteboards, at the end of the class, you have to erase and students have to take those pictures.
Definitely remember taking those good old pictures at PV. And I really like the Zoom the Zoom thing, because back in when I was at PV, there was a lot of gaps in your learning. If you missed a class, man, you you pretty much done for the semester. So if I had a way to log in from online, that would be game changing. And I'm just glad that it's available now.
But also, I was gonna say, also there are people who struggle with like, try to do what's on the board, try to listen to you. Like, now we just take that out. This information is gonna be here. You have to worry about just try to get as much concept as you can, and then you can listen to the classes. So much time can be saved and cut out, all that extra stuff that you have to worry about. So you can just focus on, if it's differential equations, you can just focus on seeing what the teacher is doing versus trying to copy notes and look at your textbook and all that stuff.
So COVID, it actually was great timing as far as with the workforce, particularly technology. I did a lecture prior to COVID happening. It stated that generational differences, this is one of the biggest challenges as technology is becoming um, required in our workforce. For example, my generation and the generation before me, we're having generation clashes because our generation, we're used and we're understanding technology. The generation before us, they don't need technology. However, since we're used to using technology, the generation that's coming after us, they're dependent on technology. If you think about it, so some of these students, if you ask them how to spell a word before they're writing their text, they're typing it in their phone just to make sure it's spelled correctly. But far as when we were growing up, we're spelling it out. So being that that generation was dependent on technology, if it wasn't for COVID, it would have been a huge clash as this generation is starting to come to college. So this generation, that's the freshmen's class of is it 2023? This right on time for them. But the biggest challenge is that we have to figure out how that we can allow students to use technology in their lectures from the palm of their hand versus their actual computer. That's going to be our next challenge.
Oh, definitely, man. And this is like right on point. And I know this is Fresh Tech Tips. I know we've been talking about educational technology, but we have a lot of entrepreneurs that are listening to us. So can you tell us a little bit about you as an entrepreneur?
Me as an entrepreneur, I've hosted various events at Prairie View and in university. I actually have my own shirt design as well. Um, it's a Black Lives Matter shirt. I'm always thinking of different ways of how I can expand my portfolio. If it's from like retirement plans, it's just I want to diversify my portfolio.
Right. So is there any tech that you use at your university that you apply to your entrepreneurial ventures?
Absolutely. QR codes. I was exposed to QR codes in the doctoral program with surveys. So particularly in my entrepreneurship, QR code is so convenient. I've placed QR codes in various locations that says got a shirt. You scan the QR code and it instantly pops up on my website where you can find the actual shirt at. So absolutely, absolutely, without a doubt. I'm always focused on how can I sell my product or whatever I'm promoting at the palm of the hand is convenient for the customer.
That's what it's all about.
Definitely expand the user experience. That's awesome. I have one more question, because we mentioned something that was very important there about the change in generations, and just I wanted to capture something. So as we're transitioning more and more into education technology, is there one or two things that you just don't want to be missed by this new generation that that we got the benefit? I feel like we have the best of both worlds, where we had less technology, now we have more technology. There's some skills that you if you could, you just transfer to students coming up in the next generation?
I would say the human to human interaction and student engagement. I recall 2004 when I entered Prairie View, we were outside connecting with peers. I went to Prairie View about a year ago before COVID even took off. College was completely empty. And I said, how are you guys connecting with your peers? They said, Instagram, Facebook. That's one thing I like to see is the human to human interaction. That's the main piece that we're missing. With our generation, COVID-19 has kind of brought us back to the basics. Some of the things we were doing. However, with COVID-19, with the generations coming before us, it has distanced them further and further away from the human to human interaction.
Man, that's great stuff, man. And it's when you're thinking about it, it just makes sense. So yeah, I really appreciate that, man. Um, Doug, do you have any other questions for Dr. Green?
Oh, absolutely not. Dr. Green did a fantastic job. We're just very thankful to have you here on the show.
Yeah, man, we really
No,
appreciate it, man.
awesome.
We really appreciate it. And we also appreciate all of our listeners. Please, like we understand how valuable your time is, and every second you spend with us, we just appreciate it. And we hope you got some value out of this today. Please follow us on Fresh Tech Tips Facebook page. We will be live again next Monday at 12 o'clock, around 12 o'clock. So thank y'all. If y'all need mobile app help, pitch deck help, reach out to Fresh Tech Solutions, reach out to Deck Launch, and we will see you guys next week. Thank you for joining Fresh Tech Tips.
Thank you.